I suck at drawing without a reference. Like, look at that difference. So I took 90 days to improve my abominations of art pieces into something I could be proud of. First, I have to address the elephant in the room. The first video came out 3 months ago. Now, before you raise your pitchforks, I had completed this on February 1st. I just forgot about it, you know, too busy playing Marvel Rivals. Instead of having you guys watch the first video, which, to be frank, isn't that good, I'll quickly recap the first 30 days. Bam! This is my starting point. Gray, bizarrely shaped, and a shirt that frankly makes no sense. Just a boring piece all around. For the first week, perspective studies. I drew 3D shapes in accordance to the perspectives, 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point respectively. Pretty boring, but important. Second week, skeleton. I drew the main bones in 6 different perspectives. One thing of note, the hands look like spiders. They look so weird. Third week, muscles. For some reason, I had chosen to draw each muscle in 6 different perspectives and label it, the same as the skeleton. As you can imagine, I retained almost nothing. There are about 600 muscles in the body. Fourth week, rendering. I had started by doing 2 and 3 values for practice. Second half of the week was spent doing 30-minute paintings, the most fun of the 30 days. Finally, day 30. It ended up being a big improvement. No longer gray, and the anatomy is a fair bit better, but the legs are so long, and the shirt still looks pretty weird. Still doesn't follow the shape of the torso. And 2, her torso's facing the wrong way. So lots to improve, mainly anatomy. For the next 60 days, I followed the same formula: perspective, skeletal, muscular, and rendering studies. Although, each has been changed from 1 week to 2 weeks given double the time. Weeks 1 and 2. Before I get into what I did these 2 weeks, I will cover why it's important. Being able to properly place objects in your canvas is crucial. It lets you to align objects, people, or places correctly. Additionally, it helps with deconstructing down anything into its fundamental shapes. And the sorta kinda crazy part, it helps with shading, as understanding the different faces of what you are drawing can help you place lights and shadows. I would like to mention that during this part my PC broke and I didn't get it fixed for 2 weeks, as I didn't want to cough up $70+ on repairs. During that time it would shut off whenever I didn't play Marvel Rivals, therefore nurturing my addiction. This led me to do all of the studies on my tablet. Not that it makes much of a difference, but you know, just wanted to mention it. Now time to talk about what I did these 2 weeks. I drew 3D shapes according to perspective, as well as parts of the human body, specifically the legs, as I had trouble last time. Also, those arms, I'm quite proud of myself for the details and shading. The one thing I was not proud of was the hands. I don't understand how to draw a hand that isn't doing some cool pose apparently. At the same time, my only reference was using my hand, so you know, maybe that's why. One of the last things I did for this part was drawing objects around my room. This was actually pretty fun. Unlike the human body, a lot of household objects are fairly simple shapes, like a bottle being a long cylinder with a small cylinder for the cap part. The simplicity really did impress me, and one of my favorites is this lamp. This is a dang good lamp. Another is this panda. This is a dang good panda. Here are some memes, because I forgot to stop recording, and yes, it is Marvel Rival memes. With that, weeks 1 and 2 are over. Weeks 3 and 4. The skeleton is massively important for being able to draw the human body. Every muscle is attached to this funny looking guy, and every organ is contained within it, except our skin. So you can understand, knowing how to draw the skeleton is vital. Without it, you get this ribcage that doesn't exist. I started this 2-week journey with skulls. I was able to draw the skulls more effortlessly while being more accurate than ever before. I achieved this through using simple shapes. This would have not been possible without an understanding of perspective beforehand. I also have to say these really impressed me because I forgot what these look like. Too much Marvel Rivals for the brain, to be honest. For the rest of the skeleton, I accidentally missed out on some days, probably being addicted to Marvel Rivals. Next on the chopping block were arm bones, which are just funky cylinders, very simple and kinda nothing burgers. The pelvis was done next, and it's pretty complicated with how all the holes align. Why is there so many holes? But not that bad. But you know what is bad? The spine and the rib cage. I really don't like drawing these because both are stupid simple shapes with complex smaller shapes within. The rib cage is an egg with 24 ribs per side, and the spine is a snake with 23 discs, each having a prong thingy on the back. Like I understand like the muscles connect to it, but it's like, it looks weird. Surprisingly, what wasn't hard was the hand bones. Much easier this time. Like, they don't look like spiders anymore. That concludes this part. Only 7 days spent drawing. Weeks 5 and 6. The muscular system is another must-know for drawing people. Even when there is little muscle, it still influences the shape of the body. The thighs, for example, would be actual sticks without the muscles. It gives it a shape of flat to round to flat again. Also, muscular people are pretty attractive, so it's a good thing to know. While editing, I had noticed that it says day 30. That's day 30 out of 60. So any subsequent day, like if it says day 50, for example, that's not 50 out of the total, it's 50 out of 60 days. So that actually ends up being day 80. Kind of confusing. Don't know why I did it that way, but what's done is done. I had started off by drawing the muscles of the arms in its entirety, unlike before. I had drawn the arms in stretched and contracted positions, as well as external and internal rotations. And for this, I referenced the bodybuilding legend Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now I could draw the arms in various different positions, not that I struggled all that much with it before. The legs were done next, and the principle is the same, drawing legs in their entirety while using different references to draw it in more natural poses. The torso isn't any different, so I'm going to be skipping over that, although the hands and feet saw noticeable improvements. The hands begin to feel a lot more natural and look like, well, hands, not Play-Doh. In contrast, the feet were on a whole nother level. The shapes were so clear and concise. I don't know how to explain it because it turned out so good. Like, really good. Which sounds weird and probably will make me be labeled as a foot fetish artist for this. And I don't want that. But you know, glaze, self-glaze when self-glaze needed. Also, you've probably noticed the muscles were not really drawn here. I don't think it's as important for these appendages as the overall shape doesn't change all that much with muscle size. To finish off these 2 weeks, I did facial anatomy. This was an absolute horror show. So I swiftly moved to drawing expressions instead, and with that, weeks 5 and 6 are over. Weeks 7 and 8. These last 2 weeks consisted of both value and rendering studies. Rendering is understandable as to why it's important, so I'll be skipping over that. Then, what makes value studies so important? Values make up the readability of literally anything, and separates the shadows from the lights or the shirt from the pants, and it's important to understand this while using the least amount of values possible. If you can illustrate a person with just 2 values, imagine what you could do with 10. The first 4 days were spent on 2 values. These are not the most beautiful pieces. In fact, 2 are creepy, but they are good for what they are. Especially that one. That one's good. Proceeding this, I skipped out on 5 days, probably the Marvel Rivals addiction again. After that, I moved on to 3 values, and the first 2 deserve to be locked up into a vault, never to be seen again. Alright, moving on. As for pieces 3 and 4, these turned out better. You can see quite well how I used 3 values to convey form. The darkest value was used for the background and tank top, using a bright value for the skin to separate these forms. For the hair, which is the same value as the background, I needed something to separate it, and I had chosen the highlights to define it without needing to line or border it. The rest of the days were spent on 30-minute rendering studies. I'm gonna say it now. The first one sucks. Like, a lot. Makes the next one seem all that much better. And this was a miracle. I don't even think I could do this again in 30 minutes. It's so simple yet refined at the same time. The plethora of values and hue shifts within this piece is what makes it so special. But in order for me to do that, I needed to understand which value to place right away, which I was able to do because of the days prior. The next day's piece was good, but in comparison to last piece, this one seems subpar. Although, I must say that the nose is my favorite part, but it does not save it from her dead eyes, which would probably be saved by a highlight. And with that, there's one left on day 89. This was terrible, and we are moving on. The big day is here. This will reveal whether or not the time I had spent was worthwhile. Before I started, I had done anatomy and value arms to make sure I was truly ready. With that, I had given myself an hour and a half to complete so I don't dilly-dally. I started with guidelines, and so far, big difference. The shapes are very clear, and everything is stacking nicely. This then allowed me to more properly fit the clothes, although I feel like the shirt is still off. Might be tripping though. I don't have much to say about the liner, as it's the same thickness and not used for detailing. When it came to the rendering, I went straight in with saturated color, really not trying to make the same mistake as I did last time. For the shadows, I made it somewhat dark and saturated warm light. I'm quite proud of the rendering on the face, but at the same time, she looks eerie with her soulless gaze. On top of that, she does not look like the same person. Who is this lady? She was definitely prettier in the second one. Now that it's done, as a very biased individual, I would say that this is a successful art glow up. The anatomy had seen a massive leap in quality, specifically the left hand. In contrast, the rendering is a smidge better, but it probably would have been way better if I didn't miss out on 5 days. Let me know whether you think this is a certified art glow up or if it's little to no improvement. I hope this inspires you, your grandma, pet rat, and stuffed bear to start practicing art to experience your own art glow up. And that is all. See y'all later.